In an industry built on visibility, competition, and relentless ambition, Catherine O'Hara made a choice that quietly defied every unspoken rule of fame. At the height of her success, when Home Alone turned her into one of the most recognizable faces in the world and Beetlejuice secured her cult status, she stepped back instead of leaning in. Hollywood expected escalation, not restraint. Yet while agents chased bigger paychecks and louder roles, Catherine questioned whether constant exposure was the prize it was made out to be. This wasn't fear or hesitation, but clarity. She understood early that fame, if unmanaged, could demand everything in return. Rather than fighting to dominate the room, she chose the rarer path of deciding when to leave it. That decision created what looks, on paper, like a mysterious gap. But in truth, it marked the beginning of the most deliberate chapter of her life. Hollywood in the early 1990s and the pressure to say yes. To understand the weight of Catherine O'Hara's decision, you have to look at Hollywood in the early 1990s, an era defined by urgency and excess. For women in particular, the message was blunt and unforgiving. Momentum was everything, and age was the enemy. If you had attention, you were expected to capitalize on it immediately, before it slipped away. Saying no was seen as professional suicide. Catherine stood at that crossroads with every advantage possible. Studios wanted to build vehicles around her, magazines wanted her face, and comedy was finally opening doors that had long been closed. But instead of running faster, she slowed down. While others chased permanence through constant output, she questioned what permanence even meant. Her refusal to obey that pressure wasn't framed as bravery at the time. It was misread as retreat, when in reality it was an act of quiet control, redefining success through family and presence. In 1992, Catherine married production designer Bo Welch, and soon after, her understanding of success shifted in a way Hollywood rarely encourages. The arrival of their two sons, Matthew and Luke, reframed everything. Roles were no longer weighed solely by prestige or paycheck, but by the cost they demanded at home. It was during this period that she set a firm personal rule. She would not accept work that required long separations from her family. This boundary was non-negotiable, even when it meant turning down major opportunities. From the outside, it looked like sacrifice. From her perspective, it was alignment. She wanted her children to experience consistency, not a mother who existed through phone calls and hotel rooms. In choosing presence over visibility, Catherine rejected the idea that devotion to family and devotion to craft had to cancel each other out. Working quietly, while the cameras looked elsewhere. Although Catherine seemed to vanish from the blockbuster landscape, she never truly stopped working. Instead, she redirected her talent into spaces that allowed for balance. Voice acting became her creative refuge, offering artistic fulfillment without the invasive demands of location shoots and extended absences. Through this medium, she delivered performances that were rich, expressive, and enduring, often reaching new generations without placing her personal life under scrutiny. This period is frequently mischaracterized as a lull, but it was anything but inactive. It was intentional. She continued honing her craft, choosing projects that respected her time and values. While the industry measured relevance by red carpets and box office numbers, Catherine measured it by whether she could still sit at the dinner table every night. Her career didn't shrink. It simply became quieter. And in that quiet, it deepened. Choosing privacy in a culture that rewards exposure, Hollywood thrives on access. But Catherine O'Hara resisted the pressure to turn her private life into a public commodity. Alongside Bo Welch, a man equally uninterested in the spotlight, she built a home life that existed outside celebrity culture. Their relationship was defined not by branding or public performance, but by mutual respect and shared priorities. Bo's work as a production designer brought him success without constant visibility, and that balance suited them both. There was no incentive to monetize their marriage or parade their family through interviews. This privacy wasn't secrecy, it was protection. Catherine understood how easily fame could blur boundaries, especially for children. By refusing to play that game, she created a sanctuary where her identity wasn't fragmented between roles. In a town obsessed with being seen, she treated anonymity as a luxury worth preserving. The strength required to say no repeatedly. Turning down one role is easy. Turning down dozens over the course of years requires conviction. Catherine's rule frustrated agents and confused studios, but she never softened it to appease anyone. Each refusal reaffirmed her priorities, even as rumors circulated that her absence meant decline. The industry often interprets boundaries as weakness, especially in women, but Catherine's consistency told a different story. She wasn't waiting to be asked again under better conditions. She was uninterested in compromising conditions at all. This approach demanded financial discipline, emotional certainty, and a strong support system. She had all three. Her choices weren't reactionary, but carefully considered. In a profession where identity can become entangled with approval, Catherine separated the two. She knew who she was without applause, and that knowledge gave her the freedom to walk away again and again without regret. A return on her own terms with trusted collaborators. When Catherine eventually returned to the spotlight in a major way, it wasn't because she needed relevance, but because the timing finally felt right. Her children were grown, her home was steady, and the invitation came from someone who understood her completely. Eugene Levy wasn't offering her a conventional role. He was offering creative trust. On Schitt's Creek, Catherine wasn't slotted into a familiar archetype. She was encouraged to build something new, strange, and fearless. The result was Moira Rose, a character that felt unfiltered and expansive, shaped by decades of lived experience. This wasn't a comeback driven by desperation. It was a re-emergence defined by confidence. Catherine returned not as someone reclaiming a throne, but as an artist finally ready to play again, without sacrificing anything she had spent years protecting. Legacy measured by choices, not gaps. It's tempting to measure careers by visibility alone, by counting years on screen and roles accepted. Catherine O'Hara's life challenges that metric entirely. What appears as a gap in her filmography is actually a record of decisions made with intention and care. She demonstrated that stepping back doesn't mean falling behind, and that fulfillment doesn't require constant exposure. Her later success didn't erase the years she spent away. It validated them. Those years informed her work, enriched her performances, and grounded her perspective. She returned to audiences with more depth because she had lived fully off-screen. Catherine's story reframes ambition itself, suggesting that longevity isn't built by saying yes to everything, but by knowing what deserves a no. Redefining what it means to win in Hollywood. Catherine O'Hara's career stands as a quiet rebuke to a culture that equates worth with visibility. She proved that it's possible to protect your private life without losing your professional soul. By choosing family, boundaries, and balance, she didn't miss out on success. She reshaped it. Her legacy isn't defined by absence, but by integrity. She showed that talent doesn't fade when it's nurtured in silence, and that stepping away can be an act of strength rather than fear. In a business that often consumes the people it celebrates, Catherine remained whole. She didn't chase every spotlight, and because of that, when she stepped back into one, she did so on her own terms. That may be the most radical achievement of all.